That was stupid. Alright, let's try this again. Gitche manado. Daga dapanamaniwea sema. Great Spirit, please accept my tobacco. Mikwach ka iji mino bimadazian. Thank you for my good life. Daga widuka wishin minowe nungum. Please help me to speak well today. Miigwech bezendawiyeg. Thank you for listening. Ape inge. Amen. Then I put out a little tobacco, a little asema. Just to say, here's a little tobacco offering. And this is this is one way to pray first thing in the morning. Alright. So let me go back home. Hey, sweetie, can you hear me? Bleep. Bleep. Hey, sweetie, can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you beam me back to the house? Yeah, sure. We got a teleporter. You ready? Yeah, go ahead. One to beam home. One beaming home. Hang on. Oh, thanks, sweetie. I'm so glad we got that teleporter. It's so much easier than having to drive all the way out there. So yeah, Boozhoo. Welcome back to the show. How you doing this morning, sweetie? Oh, I'm doing great. How are you? Oh, not too bad. I forgot to turn on the microphone for the first prayer, so I had to do it over again. I think we can edit that when we, post the video. But, so yeah, let's see who's here. And our little live stream show. Daniel Black is here. Boozhoo, Daniel. Daniel says, we are here because we are here. Boozhoo Mino Giga Jabe. Hello. We are here because we are here. And not there. We are Oma. And not Oede. So yeah. Fly by night away from here. Change my life again. You know what? We should start the show with a song. This is Fly by Night. Why try? Oh no, why? This feeling inside me says it's time I was gone. Clear head, new life ahead. It's time I was king and not just one more pawn. Fly by night away from here. Change my life again. Fly by night, goodbye my dear. My ship isn't coming and I just can't pretend. Moonrise, thoughtful eyes, staring back at me from the window beside. No fright or hindsight, leaving behind that empty feeling inside. Fly by night away from here, change my life again. Fly by night, goodbye my dear. My ship isn't coming and I just can't pretend. Start a new chapter, I'll find what I'm after. It's changing every day. Change of the seasons, enough of a reason to want to get away. quiet and pensive, my thoughts apprehensive, the hours drift away. Leaving my homeland, playing a lone hand, my life begins today. Fly by night, away from here, change my life again. Fly by night, goodbye my dear. My ship isn't coming and I just can't pretend. My ship isn't coming and I just can't pretend. My ship isn't coming and I just can't pretend. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, on the guitar, Michael Lyons. Thanks. I just love Rush. When is it the time to fly by night? That's what you gotta ask yourself once in a while. Fly by night. Sometimes you just gotta go. Sometimes changing the seasons, enough of the reason to want to get away. Do you remember being like that, where you just wanted to quit your job, pack up the house, leave all your friends behind, go start over somewhere? Just pack up in the middle of the night, don't say goodbye to anybody. You just go. Fly by night, away from here. Hey, Jim Dunn is here. Boozhoo Jim. Sweetie Jim is here. Boozhoo Jim. And Jessica Gonzalez. Boozhoo Jessica Gonzalez. Or as they say online, Just Guns. That's her gangster name, Just Guns. She's in Guns N' Roses. How you guys doing? It's nice to see you. Mino Giga Jabe. So, started off the show already with one technical difficulty. Forgot to turn on the microphone. That was kind of stupid. But otherwise, heavy show yesterday, huh, sweetie? Yeah, we got a copyright strike for that video, too. Did we actually get a strike? Well, not a strike, but we got one of those, quit doing that video emails. Oh, yeah. Apparently, that song's copyrighted. You can't just play it and cry over it. So, yeah. So today, I was going to talk about what I was going to talk about yesterday before I got sidetracked talking about grandmas and death. Our Ojibwe word of the day. Boom. The Misqua Mikanana. Mikanana? Mikana. 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 Why can't I say that? Mikana. Mikana Sukana. Misqua Mikana. The Red Road. And the Red Road is the good road. For some people, the Red Road is the road of sobriety. The road of serenity. The Red Road is the path you're supposed to be on. Everybody has a purpose. Everybody's got a reason to live, baby. Huh, Paul? That's right. And I wrote a song about it called Reason to Live. That's right. Everybody's got a reason to live. But it can't be your love. It can't be your love, sweetie. Oh, can it? Well, maybe it can, but I got other stuff going on too. Yeah, okay. But the Red Road isn't just sobriety. It's not just doing what you're told. The Red Road is your path. When you find the Red Road, you find out what your purpose is in this realm. Why were you created? Everybody's got a reason to live. For some people, it might be to raise your child. Maybe your child is going to be the next whoever. And your purpose is to, marry Mary had a pretty important job. She had to raise Jesus. For some people, their purpose is, Jim Henson, his purpose was to create Sesame Street. And so when he found his purpose, stuff started to click, Gitche Manadu, he gives us these gifts. And the gifts are our interests and the things we love. And when you somehow connect the things you love with serving somebody else or something, there's a formula there where when you can find your purpose and connect them with your gifts, then you're on the red road. Then life really starts to click. That's what I've been noticing about this show. I never knew what my purpose was. I thought I knew what I loved and I knew what I hated. And I didn't think my purpose was to just work at a job I didn't like and save up retirement money until one day when I'm old, I can quit doing this thing I don't like and go fishing or something. Which I'm not. I don't really care about fishing either. But, the big mystery in life is like, how do you find happiness? And, why am I here? That's what everybody says when they when they die and they have those near-death experiences and they meet Jesus. They always ask the same thing. What's the meaning of life? Or even if they go up to the mountain and talk to a guru, they'll say, Buddha, what's the meaning of life? And I don't think most people even know what that means. It's like, what do you mean by the meaning? It's like, well, why? What was this all about? It's like, okay, good question. Well, the meaning of life is to find the red road and to live in a good way. And there are certain universal truths, You shouldn't be all drunk and, sleeping around. That's a bad road. Manadamon. Manadain Damoin is like, feeling bad. Manadamoin is a bad road. Manadaman. Or what they used to call the black road. The Makade Mikana. Makade Mikana, the black road. You must never go down the black road. Wide is the black road. And I think the black road is just that path we all go down chasing material goods. Chasing, if I just had a new car. If I just got that girl. If I just made so much money, If I could just get drunk enough. If I could just have that perfect kind of buzz. A perfect balance of buzz. That's the bad road. There's self-destructive roads. There's one road, a path that everyone goes down. You get up in the morning, you make some coffee, you eat some eggs, you take a shower, you go to work. You do as little as you can get away with. You pretend you're always busy. You flirt with that lady who's not your wife. And then you go out with the boys afterwards. And you have 3 beers. You come home. And you eat a bunch of, fried food. And a big bowl of ice cream. And then, you go in the office and you watch porn and you go to bed. That's a bad road. But Nanaboozhoo, how come you talk about it with such like first-hand awareness? Never mind, all right? Just no, don't mind how I know what the bad road is. I'm talking about how I got on the good road, the red road. So the red road is finding your path. And I think I finally found it with this show. Oddly enough. When I was a little boy, I had like this calling. I wanted to be like a cool guy. And the closest thing I could see to who I wanted to feel like, the first guy was Elvis Presley. He seemed pretty cool. You know, he was up there singing. But it wasn't just him singing and that. You know, he also looked, everybody loved Elvis. He looked cool. And so I wanted to be like Elvis. And then as I got older, I discovered Kiss. Huh, guys? That's right, Nanaboozhoo. And those guys seemed to live in kind of a fantasy world. You know, they were like half musician, half comic book character. And they were superheroes and celebrities. You know, and Paul Stanley would always say, you know, anything is possible if you just believe in your dreams. So I'm like, all right then. So what are my dreams? And you know, when I look back on myself when I was 14, 13 years old, whatever, I would have been sitting in a room like this, listening to Kiss music, drawing cartoons. I would have had stuffed animals and action figures, you know, magazine, comic books all over the place. And sometimes, you know, when I could finally get away from the world, from school and sports and the family and whatever, and I could just play in my room, I would just pretend. And and there was something I always liked about Paul Stanley and David Bowie, and quite frankly, even the Muppets, is that these were guys who had like an alter ego, and Spider-Man, and Batman and stuff. They had a character they played. Ziggy played guitar. David Bowie played the character of Ziggy. Paul Stanley played the character of Paul Stanley. And, and in that little room, that playground of my imagination, I don't know. It eventually turned into little skills in drawing, skills in singing, skills in pretending, comedy, telling jokes, whatever. But then when it all came together was when, Dubba-Dane Dizzy Win. When I was humbled in my grief. And let's not get into that today. But, when the Great Spirit just finally kind of said, okay, now you ready? Okay, here's your path. You've been sniffing around it for years. But I'm going to bring together all this stuff for you. I just want you to do one thing for me. Teach the language. Try to be, as real in this fake way. Let's face it. It's a fake fire. But I'm trying to be as authentic. I don't know. I think you guys know I'm trying to get at. So then I found my path. So yeah, make these dumb little videos. And the reason why I think it's my path is that suddenly all the gifts, the skills, the whatever, I'm just being blessed daily with, good ideas or happy coincidences. And I go, oh, wow. Yeah, I guess all that stuff I talk about is probably real, huh? Anyway, that's my little morning tangent on Misqua Mikana, the red road. Follow the red road. Do not follow the bad road. Manadamon. I don't know how to say it. The bad road. Let's see what the people have to say. Brandy Marie's here. Hey, Boozhoo, Brandy Marie. Sweetie, Brandy Marie's here. Boozhoo, Brandy Marie. Meet okay, Kajab. That's Natasha. She says hello. Oh, by the way, anybody who's not, part of the Boozhoo crew yet, ladies and gentlemen, the lovely and the talented Natasha. Boozhoo, Kakina. Hello, everyone. And I am Nanaboozhoo. And I probably jumped into the deep end of the pool there. This is just a dumb little... So every day for new people, this is a show about Ojibwe language and culture. So sometimes, we'll teach an Ojibwe phrase, like the Red Road. And then we'll talk about the culture. We'll talk about the ways of the Gitche Anishinaabe, the great people, the elders. Because that's what we called elders, huh, sweetie? Gitche Anishinaabe. Yeah, I always thought that was pretty cool. They're just the great people. Yeah. The great. Daniel Black is back. Back in black. Daniel Black is back. Boozhoo, Niji. Daniel says, sweetie. Boozhoo, Daniel. All right. We were just talking about the Red Road. So, how do you find your purpose? How do you find the Red Road? Oh, this is the other thing I learned. Lots of times Red Road is so connected to sobriety. That's really when people start to talk about with some authority. Like, oh yeah, I found the Red Road when I sobered up. But as an artist, and they never talk about this in the media because most rock stars and movie stars are still drunk and on drugs. But when I quit drinking, that's when things started to change for me creatively. And when I was able to kind of step up and become like a real artist or whatever. And then I found out that a lot of artists, they had their breakthrough right after they quit drugs or alcohol or something. There is a payoff to following the Red Road. Because it is, it's the road less traveled. Most people don't follow the Red Road. Most people aren't on the path. Most people are following the Black Road. They're brainwashed or whatever. And, but the rebels and the true leaders, true Ogama, they follow their own path, or they make a new path, one that's never been, tread on before. But when you do that, then you find that you have superpowers. Then you find that connection to Gitche Nanaboozhoo. And he's like the source of all good ideas, And then also your interest. Sometimes I think back on what I would have thought, it took so long to draw the first book. Okay, I know Michael drew the first book, but whatever. But then, I don't know. When I was younger, spending 12 hours on a project was a very rare thing. I drew a comic book once in, 12 days, I think. And working 10-hour days. I would just get up in the morning. I worked on that, you see that dresser back there? It's tall enough that I could draw while standing. So I put a lamp on there and I drew a comic book all day long for 12 days. And when I was done, I had this 64-page black and white comic book. And I couldn't believe that I somehow got into such a zone. Because I never before did anything 12 days in a row. I was good if I could do something for 3 days and then I put it down for 2 weeks and then pick it up again. Oh yeah, I was drawing a coloring book. But for this one comic, it just, came out. And And then years went by, and I put together some more books and this and that. But when I finally quit drinking, then, I don't know, it's like my eyes opened up and went, well, you know what? You can't sell books unless you get an Amazon page, dummy. Why don't you take 10 minutes and read how to do that? And then, pretty soon we have an Amazon page. Then, my little brother says, you know what? You should put some of those comic strips up on Facebook. I go, Facebook? You mean that thing where you screen your girlfriends before you go out with them? Okay. Started putting that up. And then those comic strips turned into little videos. And those little videos turned into me coming out and teaching 1 word a day. And now it's gone so far, I don't even keep track anymore. But I work on the show every day. And putting 12 hours in is not that big of a deal. I haven't been doing that lately, if I'm being honest. But in the past, I've had many days where I work just from early morning till late at night. Taking breaks to eat and go poo and whatever. But just filled with inspiration and funny ideas. And then it keeps growing and changing. And I go, where did this come from? It's like, well, you're on the path. You finally found the path. Everybody's got a reason to live. Hey, sweetie. Yeah? You got a phone call. Oh, really? All right, let's take a call. I'm going to quit droning on about my own life. Nobody wants to hear that. Okay. Caller, you're on the air. Huh? Who's there? Hey, Joe Biden. What's going on, Niji?
Oh, not much. I just wanted to call in. I wanted to call and say Boozhoo. Come on, man.
Yeah, hold on a second here. I'm trying to get you behind me. There you go. Yeah, that looks weird too. There we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States of America, Mr. Joe Biden. What can I do for you, Mr. President?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to call in. I was wondering if I could teach you a Ojibwe word of the day.
For crying out loud, why do you got to do this every time? No, you can't teach you a Ojibwe word of the day. We just did it. You call up and you got your own agenda. I mean, what is this, politics?
Oh, come on, man. There was that one day I was down at the pool there.
Yeah, you were at the pool, and you know something about, what you call it, roaches?
Yeah, roaches. They're little black kids that come up and they rub my legs. and they'd rub my legs just to watch the hair go up. And, I love children sitting on my lap.
Dude, I think you should stop talking right there.
Huh? Oh, come on, man. What you talking about?
Sir? He's asleep again. Joe!
Huh? Who's there?
It's me, Nanaboozhoo. You called in. You wanted to teach an Ojibwe word of the day.
Oh, yeah. Come on, man.
All right. What do you want to teach?
I want to teach an Ojibwe phrase. I want to say, Umbe, Winini. Come on, man.
Umbe, Winini. Come, man. Yeah, I suppose that would be come on, man. You say that a lot, huh?
Yeah, if I don't have a teleprompter, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I know. You're starting to bum me out. I saw that video of you kind of tripping up the stairs.
Oh, come on, man. There's a lot of stairs there. And the wind knocked me down.
Yeah. I don't think it was a wind. I think you're even in rougher shape than they're letting on.
Huh?
I said I think you're in rougher shape than they're letting on. I think it's just a matter of time before Kamala, or whatever her name is going to take over.
What, that colored lady?
What?
I mean, that lady of color?
Dude, I'm going to let you go, because every time you open your mouth, you say something stupid.
Oh, come on, man. What are you gonna... You gotta get Soda Pop.
You mean Corn Pop?
Yeah, Corn Pop. He was a bad dude. I had to wrap a chain around his neck.
Yeah, okay. You gotta go, man. I got a show to do here.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll see you later. Umbe, win an E. Come on, man.
All right, Umbe with an E. Come on, man. Thank you for calling in, Joe.
You were kind of short with him.
Was I?
Yeah, you should have more patience for your elders.
Yeah, you're probably right. There's just something about that guy gets under my skin.
I know.
I don't know what it is. I mean, it's not like I was a big... I mean, I kind of like Trump, but it's not about that. There's just something about Joe that I really don't like. I should really be more patient. I understand. I should really... You know, he's still our elder. He's still our Gitche Anishinaabe. So there you go. Hey, Sheila's here. Boozhoo, Sheila. Welcome back to the show. It's so nice to see you. I don't want to say it about in front of the rest of the Boozhoo crew, but it's just not the same when you're not here. You know, like the coolness level of our crew just doesn't, you know. When Sheila shows up, she takes it from a 6 to a 10. That's all I'm saying, you guys. I know you all think you're cool, but Sheila is our leader. Let's see what Sheila doing. She's saying hello to everybody else. Brandy says, that's Biden, all right. Yeah. He's, did you see that one video of him? He's clearly in a green screen. He puts his hand right over the microphone. I mean, I could have bothered to show it here, but you guys probably understand. He pretends he's doing a quick Q&A with a reporter on the front lawn, with the helicopter in back, and he runs out there, hey. And then they show a glitch where it's obviously that the reporters aren't there. He's in a green screen. They pre-taped this thing. Okay. Why do you need to pre-tape stuff? Is he really... is that really him? It's another body double. That's what I think. I think all these celebrities and stuff, they're just actors, and they got body doubles. Like even Kiss. You ever notice, like when they first started doing interviews for the End of the Road tour, the whole band would wear sunglasses indoors on every... Even when like the reporters would kind of make jokes about them, they refused to take off their sunglasses. Like, oh, the lights, you know. They're hard on our eyes. What? Lights? They're called sunglasses, not light glasses. But they wouldn't take off their glasses. And that's when I went, oh, you know what? I bet you those are just doubles. You know, actors who come out and they look just like the guys, but you can't fake 100%. Unless they're wearing sunglasses. And that's why so many celebrities, it's an old thing, you know. They've always worn big sunglasses. Remember Michael Jackson? He'd wear those big old aviator glasses and a black surgical mask underneath a hat or whatever. And you could still tell it was him. And everyone said, oh, look at that freak wearing a surgical mask in public. What a weirdo. Wacko Jacko. He wears a surgical mask in public. Now the whole world. I remember when Michael Jackson died. And the first thing they did was to take the masks off his kids. You know, their whole lives up to that point, Michael Jackson was afraid they'd get abducted. So he's like, oh no, you can never show your faces on TV. I will put you in masks and cover you up. I mean, named the one kid Blanket because he'll just put a blanket over him so he'd never be photographed. The minute he dies, the rest of the family's like, okay, kids, you don't need to do that. That's insane. You can't even breathe. But 10 years later, here we are. Hey, kids, don't forget to put on your masks. Oh, really? Is it Halloween again? No, it's 2021. Put on your mask. Okay. Brandy Marie says, we're in trouble when that happens, Harris. Yeah, Kamala Harris. She's a weirdo too. I wonder if she's a transgender. There's something. What's with these Democratic women who all cackle? Remember Hillary had that cackle too. And they sound like the witch on Wizard of Oz. Oh la la la. Let's see. Grieving Turtle's here. Boozhoo, Grieving Turtle. It's got a shades on just like the celebrities. Sheila says, eyes, mirror to the soul. Yeah, you wonder about that sometimes too. You know, speaking of aviator glasses, President Joe, likes the aviator glasses too. Maybe these guys are like lizard people and they're shape-shifting. And the only thing, and their eyes don't stay consistent. So they have to wear glasses so you don't see the slit eyes. Do you think that's what's going on there, sweetie? Maybe. I doubt it. But, you know, who knows? Sweetie, you want to take a call? Oh, we got another one? Yeah. All right, sure. Let's see. Caller, you're on the air. I thought you were on the air. Is it line 2? Yep, line 2. Oh, caller, you're on the air.
Hello there, Nanaboozhoo.
Oh, hey, Kermit. How you doing, Niji?
I'm actually doing much better, thank you.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, last time we talked, you were having some problems with Miss Piggy.
Yeah, that's right. Miss Piggy and I have been going into counseling and going into marriage counseling.
Marriage counseling? I didn't know you guys are married.
Well, we're not yet, but well, we just thought it might be a good idea to go into marriage counseling.
Did you think that too, or is that her idea?
Well, I guess it was her idea, but I kind of thought that if she could get into counseling, then I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't be such a bad idea.
Yeah, maybe not. So what can I do for you, Kermit?
Well, I was wondering if I could teach the Ojibwe word of the day.
Yeah, look, man, we've already had like 4 Ojibwe words of the day. I can't be doing this every time. No offense, man.
Oh, yeah, no, that's okay.
So let's see, what do I want to ask you? You know, I was watching that Muppet movie you were in.
The first one?
Yeah, the one with Steve Martin.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
And there's that one scene. Do you guys remember this? You know what, Kermit?
Yeah. Well,
I didn't really prepare any kind of comedy with you, so I'm going to let you go.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to say, Gigawabamin Minawa.
Yay! Yeah, Gigawabamin Minawa, Kermit. Sometimes, you know, when we prepare for the show, I kind of think, oh, you know what? Let's get Kermit on here. And then I'll think of something funny. And then the time comes and I realize I got nothing. But I was watching that scene. I wish I had got the tape now. But if you ever saw the first Muppet movie, Steve Martin was kind of a new comedy actor. And when I saw that movie, I saw it in the theater. I'll get it tomorrow. You got to see this. But it reminded me of when you're a kid, there's certain comedy bits that you've never seen before. And somebody put it once, it's like, you haven't developed antibodies to comedy yet. So sometimes when the first time something makes you laugh, you never laugh like you do when you're a 6th grader, I guess is what I'm saying. So when I saw Steve Martin, he played a waiter. And it was the first time I had ever seen... and it's a cliche bit, but like the rude waiter. I wonder if I could find this, you guys. I'm going to try to do something crazy here. And this may result in me shutting off the whole show. But I want to find that video and I want to play it right now. So I'm going to go to my history. This is kind of a boring show and I'm just looking up videos, but I don't care. And go to manage all history. Once I was a fool. Bunch of Star Trek stuff. And Captain America. When's Captain Native America gonna come out? More Avengers stuff. Boy, I watch a lot of Avengers videos. How many times do I need to see Iron Man suit up before I'm entertained? Maybe I'm not going to find this. If I don't find it soon, I'm going to quit. Oh, there's the dress rehearsal for Kiss Unplugged. That was a fun video to watch. Oh, there it is. Okay. It's called Muppet Movie Wine for Two with Steve Martin.
Okay, guys, Microsoft Surface Pro 7, MacBook Pro. Surface
Oh, this is
Pro
never going to work, you guys.
I gave this a little bar,
But it will. Talk amongst yourselves. Copy. Alright. Now I'm going to come down here. I'm going to hit that plus sign. And I'm going to hit browser. And I'm going to hit OK. Paste. See, this is the stuff I should have did before we went live.
okay, guys, Microsoft Surface Pro 7, MacBook Pro. Surface comes with the pen and touchscreen. I gave this a little bar, but just give me a whole touchscreen.
A whole touchscreen, you guys.
Then was the price. Yeah.
Wait, what is this?
I just gotta catch up with those guys.
That's kind of creepy.
Kermit, you were so courageous, so magnificent.
I don't know what to say.
Say the bear was magnificent. After all, I did the driving.
And I took 100-foot belly flop onto a moving car. Yes, but Kermit assumed the awesome responsibility of command.
Oh, brother.
Why don't we stop somewhere for the night and have a quiet little dinner for two?
Terrific! I'll eat with you, Miss Piggy.
Gonzo never got it.
Just one more time and mwah.
That might be nice.
All right, here's the part. When I saw this in the theater, I'd never seen a waiter portrayed this way. And I thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen.
Miss Piggy, you look lovely tonight.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Amy Schumer.
It was worth it. I took the liberty of ordering us some wine.
That's right, kids.
Waiter,
Kermit drinks.
may I help you? The wine, please.
Oh yeah, and the shorts.
Not exactly. Sparkling Muscatel, one of the finest wines of Idaho. Well, you may serve us now, please. May I?
We said that for years. Oh, may I?
Don't you want to smell the bottle cap? Would you like to taste it first? Would you taste it for us, please? Excellent choice. Should be for 95 cents.
That's because their hands don't work at all. And like the obvious sarcasm.
That every wish would be heard and answered when wished on the
Morning star. La 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 la. Anyway. So yeah, those a totally cliched, a bad waiter bit. But when you're in the 6th grade and you've never seen that before, it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen, and I never forgot it. And even to this day, when I see it, I think it's like pretty great. All right, so let's see if I accidentally shut off the live stream. That does look like it. Where's their seatbelts? Oh wow, these guys are really talking. His shorts. Yeah, I know. Excuse me. Michael, get out of the shot. So yeah. Steve Martin. Anyway. The problem is, it's sometimes kind of disappointing if you try to go back something you thought was funny or good in the old days. Like, you might be remembering it through the eyes of a 6th grader. Like, I thought that movie was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. But, I was a 6th grader when it came out. La 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 la. And again, these days they would never allow Kermit to drink wine in a movie. And that opening scene was pretty creepy. Bunch of girls in bathing suits screaming, running out of a tent, and some pervert Muppet chasing them. What was that? That movie's probably terrible when I think about it. I was watching this is something we could ask Kermit. They had a Kermit, for the 100th time sing that Rainbow Connection. And when you read those lyrics, they're kind of creepy. It kind of sounds like what do they call it? Predictive programming, or part of the whole gay agenda. The Rainbow Connection. How's that go? I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it. The Rainbow Connection. The lovers, the dreamers, and me. All of us under its spell. We know that it's probably magic. Have you been half asleep? And have you heard voices? I've heard them calling my name. These are the actual lyrics for that song. Have you heard voices? Have you been half asleep? And have you heard voices? I've heard them calling my name. You've heard voices calling your name, Kermit? Hey, Kermit! Kill the posers. What are the voices telling you to do, Kermit? Don't do it. Someday we'll find it. Find what? Oh, the Rainbow Connection. Oh, that can only mean one thing in this day and age. Your rainbow connection. What's that, like your connection to the scene? Hey man, should we go to that gay club? Well, do you have a rainbow connection? Yeah, man, I have a good friend who's gay. All right, come on in. Someday we'll find it. The Rainbow Connection. The lovers. Maybe not so appropriate for you to be singing to children about lovers. The lovers, the dreamers, and me. One naked singing frog on a tree. Anyway, they had him singing that song out in a swamp or whatever. Have you been half asleep? Half asleep, like under a trance. Have you been half asleep? And have you heard voices? I've heard them calling my name. Is it the sweet sound that calls the young lady? Or something like that. Some are son and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection. I don't know. That's a sad thing. The more you dig into this stuff, all your childhood favorites, you know, there's a dark underbelly of Hollywood. You know, apparently all those heartwarming child movies over the 80s. What's that guy's name? Who did E.T.? He's a real creep. Yeah, let's not get into that. The lovers, the dreamers, and me. One singing naked frog. At least Kermit was wearing a suit in that scene with Steve Martin, huh? Yeah, he finally put on some clothes. Yeah, that creep. Steven Spielberg. Thank you, Jessica. Steven Spielberg, his movie company is called something like NAMBLA. AMBLA or something. It's an anagram for the Man-Boy Love Association. Yeah, good friends with Michael Jackson. And all these child stars who get abused, like 100% of them, and grow up to be weirdos and drug addicts and creeps themselves, get their start on these Hollywood movies. And so I wonder, I don't know, about Jim Henson. I never heard anything about him, but he was a very powerful, very successful in what he did. He was the main Muppet guy for decades. And, you know, who knows? Turns out David Bowie was a creep in the long run. You know, all these, well, let's face it, they're all, I don't want to say the word, but like Elvis, when he started dating Priscilla, she was 14. David Bowie and his first wife, Angela, there's a woman came out, wrote a book about how she lost her virginity at 13 to David Bowie. These are children, you know. The whole band, Led Zeppelin. You know, all these creeps, you know, those, she's only 16. Those guys weren't kidding. That's really what's going on in their lives. Oh, I'm a rock star. Let's go combing to junior high school dances for dates. You know. So, oh, hey, hi, I'm Elvis Presley. I'd like to take out your 8th grade daughter on a date. Yeah, go ahead. Why not? We're parents of the year. You know. I mean, let's face it. Michael Jackson took children to the Grammy Awards as dates, and we all just kind of looked the other way. Like, oh, you're bringing that kid from Webster? Okay. No one's going to call him on it. That's one of the saddest things about Michael Jackson. He didn't have a single friend. So nobody said to him, are you out of your mind? Cut it with these kids. You're a grown man. It's not right. To forget what this is going to do to your career. This is wrong, what you're doing. Whatever it is you're doing. In any capacity. Even cuddling with a boy who's not your son. Frankly, and by the time your son's 5, you can stop with the cuddling. You know? But these aren't your kids. You can't swim with them. No more Ferris. Why am I still talking about Michael Jackson? They're all a bunch of creeps. Steven Spielberg. You know. Is just the king creep. And creep is too nice of a word, but I don't want to say the real word. Because these guys are protected. I heard this. My fellow curmudgeons. You know, now that I'm old and... Yeah, I've become my grandmother in my old age. This guy goes, when it comes to the left and censorship, I go, if you're okay with censoring children's books and cartoons, then you better be okay with censoring pornography. Because if you're not, you know, what's that say about you? You can't handle Pepe Le Pew, but you're going to allow Pornhub. Oh. So, oh yeah, that's freedom of speech. Yeah, okay. Hello, children. Today's episode of Sesame Street is brought to you by the letter P for Pornhub. You're a one-stop shop for child sex trafficking. Oh, man. How is this ever going to become a kid's show again?
We can do pre-taped Sesame Street shows that run like 15 minutes that are just for kids.
That's a great idea, sweetie. Yeah, let's do that. All right. Not that I think you guys care, but this is the live stream. This should be like the after hours, the adults only. This is not Sesame Street for native kids. We're gonna make that show, and we're just gonna pre-tape it, and we'll have characters and pre-written bits, and we won't have to talk about pedophilia and stuff like this. We're gonna reserve that just for the live stream. Lucky you guys. So who else is a total creep? Elvis, David Bowie, Michael Jackson, of course, Steven Spielberg. And these are just with like underage confirmed. Woody Allen. You know, he somehow got a pass. Woody Allen proves the wisdom of never apologizing. Because they came on and said, "What? You're dating your daughter?" No. It's my ex-wife's daughter. Adopted daughter. And yeah, I'm 50 and she's 17, but whatever. It's not what you think. And he never apologized. So, everybody went, yeah, okay. Hey, Boozhoo's here. Boozhoo. Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah, remember that? He had an 18-year-old girlfriend at the height of Seinfeld. So when he was 40 or whatever, he was dating a girl who was in high school. So presumably the day came where millionaire household name Jerry Seinfeld showed up at this guy's door in one of his dozens of sports cars he owns, because he's a trillionaire. It says, oh, she was only 16? He says she was 16. 16-year-old. So, 10th grader. No, can't even drive yet. Probably doesn't even have a driver's license yet. He shows up. Hi, I'm Jerry Seinfeld. You know, from Seinfeld. I was wondering if I could take your 10th grader out with me tonight. I'm Jerry. And Dad said, yep, go right ahead. Because I have lost my mind to celebrity worship. If you're a celebrity, you will offer up your virgin sacrifice to the celebrities. Jerry Seinfeld, Elvis Presley, David Bowie, Jerry Lee Lewis or whatever. He married his own cousin. Einstein. Albert Einstein married his first or second cousin, and then left her for her daughter and married her. Not his biological daughter, but his wife's first daughter. I don't know how old she was. But, so weird. Hugh Hefner had a TV show where he had like 3 girlfriends around their 20s. And he was like in his 80s. It was supposed to be like a comedy reality show. It's like, oh, look, here's a reality show about sex trafficking, about MK Ultra mind control, about the power of celebrity and wealth and the desperate nature of the abused to subject themselves to anything. I mean, most guys, if they're decent people, I think, maybe not. I was going to talk about strip clubs. Today's children, the letter S for strip clubs. Strip clubs are fascinating for like 6 months when you're 18 years old in the 80s. They're probably not even anymore because, everyone sees naked women growing up. But when I was a kid, you never saw a naked woman ever in real life. Even if you had a girlfriend or something, you wouldn't get to see them. So you turn 18 or 21 or whatever the age was, and your buddies take you to a strip club. And oh wow, there's a real live woman, no clothes. What, $2 at the door and I get to look at a naked woman? That's all? All right. And it blows your mind. You think it's the greatest thing ever. It's like, hey, from now on, fellas, this will be the only bar we go to. Why would you go anywhere else? Those other bars don't have naked women. But then after a couple of weeks, like the second time you go, you realize how sad it is. And that was some little girl who, when she was little, she was like, when I grow up, I'm going to be a ballerina. I'm going to dance on the stage. And she had these dreams. And then her stepdad didn't have boundaries. And so she ended up on the pole with people throwing money at her. Tucking money into her underwear, into her bloomers. And you go, oh. And then you never go back because you're like, no, I can't, man. Drinking beer is depressing enough. I'm not going to go to a strip club and see some poor girl's dreams get dashed. I don't know. What did they do in the old days when 2 pence? Were they throwing quarters at strippers when money was, I don't think you can tip strippers and change anymore. My apologies to any strippers who are watching. I realize you're just dancers. All right. Welcome to the Children's Television Workshop. Let's see, Wiesany says both parties were of the same tribe in the Seinfeld instance. Of the same tribe. You mean the tribe of Israelites? All of these guys are jerks in real life who can't form healthy relationships with people in their own age. So they prey on young, naive girls who don't know better and think they're cool. If they wore bloomers, the novelty would wear off pretty soon. Yeah. Yeah, the celebrities are creeps. Oh, who's the new one? Actually, there's new ones every day. But I don't know if you guys know Chris D'Elia. He's a comedian. Was on a podcast. And, guy in his 40s who suddenly there's just a flood of women who came out saying, yeah, every time he comes to our town, he texts me, and I was 17 years old, and whatever. Grieving Trail. Seinfeld isn't an Israelite. Is that? Yeah, that's the opposite of Jew. Tribe of Judea, I meant. Excuse me. Well, excuse me. Speaking of Steve Martin. Well, yeah, I don't know. Alec Baldwin. I don't think his wife is underage. I just think he's a creep. Kind of think they're all creeps now. Except for you, Paul Stanley. You're the last good one.
Hey, thanks, Nanaboozhoo. I appreciate that.
Yeah. The last uncorrupted true artist, Paul Stanley.
You're the best.
Paul Stanley has been surprisingly scandal-free. You know, he's been in the public eye, especially to the Kiss fans, since the mid-70s. And unlike Gene Simmons and Ace Frehley, who've both been sued for sexual harassment and all kinds of horrible things, Paul Stanley has been married twice, has 5 children. He's been on a second marriage for like 20 years. So I, for one, hats off for your traditional family values, Paul Stanley. Everybody's got a reason to live, baby. Everybody's got a dream and a hunger inside. I didn't let Natasha on the show at all today. I'm sorry, baby.
Oh, that's okay. I don't mind just sitting over here and watching.
Ladies and gentlemen, the lovely and talented Natasha. What would I do without you, sweetie?
I don't know.
Yeah, me either. So, should we call it a show?
Yeah, you might as well.
I guess we covered enough pedophilia for one day. All right, you guys. Hope you have a wonderful second day. Nijo Gija Good. And yeah, I don't know. I was a little worried about getting too serious today, and ended up talking about absolutely nothing except that Seinfeld's a pedophile. Okay. Jim, have a great day. Daniel, Grieving Turtle, Wisani, Jessica, everybody of the Boozhoo crew. Giza Kain, I love you. And Miigwech Gana Wabi Egg. Thank you for watching. Boozhoo Nanaboozhoo, the podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. And watch for the pre-recorded kids version of the show. We're gonna do real Ojibwe language show for children. Just shorts, just 15-minute clips. Again. All right, have a great day, you guys, and I'll see you again. Gigo Baba Min. Minowa. Hawa. Huh?